Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my experiences going through our first round of IUI. So in my last video, I mentioned that my husband and I went to a fertility doctor and had a consultation and was instructed to give the office a call whenever I got my period. And that consultation was back in March of 2020, and then I called the office in April when I got my period. They scheduled an ultrasound and blood work on day 3 of my period to check my ovarian reserve and hormone levels. The doctor also ordered a prescription for Clomid, 100 milligrams on days 3 through 7 of my cycle, as long as the blood work was fine, which it was. And even though I don't have any issues with ovulation, he said that we would have a higher chance of success if I took the Clomid because it helps stimulate more mature eggs. And with taking the Clomid, the only side effects that I really noticed were that it made my period a little bit heavier than it normally would be, and also just the very common hot flashes that most people get with taking the medication, which is very strange for me because I normally always run really cold. On the 10th day of my cycle, I went in for my second ultrasound, and this was to see how well my body was responding to the Clomid. I honestly don't remember how many follicles he said that I had, but he did seem pleased with the results. He said I should take the HCG trigger shot on the 12th day of my cycle based on how the follicles had matured. This is what triggers your body into ovulating. The shot itself was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was really the mental hurdle that I had to get over of actually having to poke myself. On cycle day 14, at last the day had arrived, IUI day. Justin was instructed to come in 2 hours prior to the procedure to drop off his sperm sample. They then prepared it, got it ready, and when we were about to have the procedure, the doctor came in and reviewed the sperm results with us. I want to emphasize that your total sperm count can be very different than your post-wash total motile sperm count, which is what they're actually using to put inside you when doing the IUI. For instance, on the day of IUI number 1, Justin's sperm count was around 32 million pre-wash, which I was pleasantly surprised to hear because the very first diagnostic sperm sample that the OBGYN had ordered a few months prior was around 20 million. So the fact that it was much better this time around, I was really relieved to hear that. I had read that after the sperm washing process is done, it can lower the total motile sperm count by about half. The sperm washing process is a requirement for IUI because it reduces the amount of excessive cramping, and it also removes bacteria. However, after the washing process, Justin's total motile sperm count went down very drastically, way more than normal, and the doctor said that it's lower than he would like to see. I remember thinking, what's even the point of putting it in, because it has such a low chance of working, but we'd already spent the money, so we might as well try. And I had next to zero hope that this cycle would work. I also was a bit worried about how painful the IUI would be because the sonohystogram was very painful. But actually, to my surprise, it was a little bit easier than the SHG. It felt like intense cramping when the catheter was placed through my cervix, but at least it didn't last very long, the cramping, so that was good. After the procedure was over, the doctor tilted the table up slightly and had me lie down for at least 10 minutes There was some bleeding after the procedure was over, and he had me wear a pad. When the doctor left the room, I just started to cry, not from pain, but from disappointment with such low numbers and me just thinking that this is never going to work for us. But we had to move forward, and next was the waiting game. And I urge you not to do what I did, which was to test out the trigger shot by taking a pregnancy test every day after the IUI. I'd seen videos of people doing this, so I thought, hey, I'll give it a try. But just listen to the recommendations and don't test before 14 DPO. Trust me, it'll be a lot easier that way. I also want to say that because I was taking the HCG, I had a lot of the early pregnancy symptoms, which makes it even harder to tell if you're actually pregnant. But anyway, I started my period 13 days later and called the fertility office to schedule for IUI number 2. I went through the same ultrasound and blood work on day 3 of my period like I had done last time. But out of curiosity, I asked if I could have a copy of the sperm analysis results from the first IUI, just because I didn't remember exactly what the doctor had said they were. I remembered that they were low, but I didn't remember exactly what they were. So my husband filled out the necessary paperwork in order for them to give us a copy. I was even more shocked at the results than I had been before. His count was 700,000, and I, out of desperation, asked the doctor what we could do, and he suggested freezing several vials of sperm so that they could be combined for the next IUI. The light bulb went on in my head, and I was wondering how I had never heard about anything like this before. When he said that, I had renewed hope, but I also knew that we would need many vials in order to have a potentially successful IUI. Bound and determined to give it our all before going to more drastic measures such as IVF, I started doing my own research. I wanted to find out whatever we could do to naturally increase Justin's sperm count so that we didn't have to use as many frozen vials of sperm at 250 a pop. And of course, check with your doctor before starting any medication, but I'm just sharing with you guys what we did. So what I had Justin start taking was a organic multivitamin, as well as vitamins C and D, and fatty acids and ashwagandha. I had read that you really need to be taking the vitamins for at least 3 months to notice any difference, because that's how long a full sperm regenesis process takes. So I decided to just cancel IUI number 2 for now and wait out the full 3 months and see if the sperm numbers had improved at all by taking the supplements. Other things that he did to increase sperm count were to cut out all alcohol, avoid hot tubs, avoid long bike rides, and I also purchased something called Cool Balls, which you can find on Amazon, and they're essentially a organic cotton brief that have specially designed cold packs. I think it comes with 3 of them that you just put in the freezer, and they slip right in and fit perfectly into the briefs. By wearing these a few times a day for at least 3 months, because that's how long it takes for the sperm to fully regenerate, this is supposed to decrease scrotal temperatures, because with an increased temperature down there, it can damage the sperm. Notice how I did not say that we took a spa day and just relaxed. I don't know about you, and I'm sure people don't mean to upset you, but I find it very hurtful when people say to you, just relax and it'll happen. because it makes you feel like it's your fault. Like the reason why it's not happening is because of you, because you are not relaxed enough. And the reality is, there are so many reasons why people are unable to become pregnant that no amount of relaxation is going to solve. Sorry for the tangent. I just felt like I had to put that out there. And I also wanted to share something that has been really helpful in this journey, and that is really simply just focusing on things that you're grateful for. That you have a spouse, that you have a job, that you have a roof over your head, food to eat. These simple things that we often forget and overlook, just kind of reflect back on those, and that helps just to put everything in perspective and take a step back and realize that, yes, we really are blessed. Well, that's all for this video, and stay tuned for the next video on IUI number 2. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so you won't miss out on any new videos. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and see you next time.